Oh, say, can you see by the beer's golden light how hoppy it tastes and ever so malty? It's Beer O'Clock, and this is the Beer O'Clock Show, with this episode being released on US Independence Day, the 4th of July, hence my little beer-themed Star Spangled Banner rendition, for which I can only apologise. My name is Mark, and joining me, in no way endorsing my singing or my alteration of a national anthem, is my beer mentor, the bald eagle himself, Steve. Hello, Steve.
Hello, Mark. I've got one thing to say to that, mate. Brilliant. I wasn't expecting that.
Well, people might not realise that Steve doesn't know how I introduce him or whatever I do at the beginning of the show any week. But I just had to do something for the 4th of July. So to all of our 12 US listeners, or however many we may have, hope you have a wonderful July 4th and don't get yourself blinded by fireworks. Right. Tonight's beer, despite doing an entire season of American beers last season, we've got an American beer tonight, especially for tonight's episode, for the 4th of July, and we'll come to that in just a little bit. But before then, Stephen, hello.
Mark, hello.
How
are you?
I'm very well, thanks. Seeing your reaction to me singing perked me up proper. How has your beery week been?
It's been a quiet one. Actually, I went camping at the weekend, and as I do, I only take a few beers with me because it's difficult to keep them at a decent temperature. So I always kind of select beers that can be drunk at any sort of temperature.
Yep.
So I kind of finished off the Hillside range. We had Hillside on a couple of weeks ago, so I did the last two of their beers that I've not yet done. I did their mild, their single hopped multi-mild, which was actually really, really nice. It was like drinking you know those caramel digestive biscuits that you get. It was like drinking one of them. It was
nice.
Really, really nice, really, really sweet, really flavoursome. And I also did their porter as well, which I was with a friend who's not a beer drinker by any stretch of the imagination, and I poured it into my tankard, because I have this proper pewter tankard with me when I'm camping, so I can't be trusted with a glass in a field. And I took a sniff of it, and I just got these fantastic aromas of it. So I gave it to my friend, and I said, "Have a smell of that. Tell me what you know." He's like, "Oh, it smells like coffee and chocolate." I was like, "Yes, it does." So the porter was really good as well, called Seven Surge. So I did both of those. And I had another marble dobber as well, and I had that kind of, I don't know what phrase you'd give it. It wasn't at room temperature, it was kind of at outside temperature. And it was interesting, because the flavours were completely different in there. It still had the same profile, the same sort of body to it, the same balance of flavours, but the fruit flavours were less pronounced in it. There was more of a malty character. But it was good. So not too many this week. An easy one, really.
Cool.
What about yourself?
I only had one. I had big plans for the weekend, but I was poorly. So on Friday night, I had that can of Gamma Ray. Is it Gamma Ray?
Yeah.
For me, it tastes just like Cannonball. I don't know if that's unfair or not, but it's basically it's a hop bomb, isn't it?
It is, yeah, but it's not an IPA. It's just a pale ale.
But it's just hop bomby.
Yes.
But it was really nice, and I actually found it wasn't quite like Cannonball. It was a bit easier than Cannonball.
It's not got quite the bitter edge to it that Cannonball has got.
No, but it was very nice for a hop bomb. Everyone knows I'm not a huge hop bomber, but no, it was very nice. I had big plans for having Duty's Pilsner. I have a shit ton of other beers in the fridge. They're taking up an entire shelf, which the wife keeps giving me looks for, that I really need to get through. But not this weekend. Maybe next weekend. Anyway. News. Do we have any news, Stephen?
Of course we've got news, mate.
Take two. Go on.
Okay, this week the biggest news in the last week. I tweeted about this last week because I was very, very excited. Cannonball. That's all I'm going to say. Magic Rock have installed in the London Fields tap room a permanent keg line for the summer of Cannonball. Put it this way, if anybody wants me this summer, that's where I'll be, drinking all of the Cannonball all of the time. So yeah, there was no date on it as to when it was actually starting. The tweet simply said, Magic Rock line has landed. All summer we'll have a keg line dedicated to Cannonball. So I'm assuming that's there now.
If anyone from Magic Rock is listening, can you send me an address so I can back invoice you for every single mention of Magic Rock Cannonball that Stephen's ever done on this show? You're getting so much bloody free airtime out of us, I tell you what.
Anyway, I
next.
I could just stop the news there because that's the only piece of news that's worthy of sharing. Next, it's back to our regular feature of what have Brewdog been up to this week, which one of our listeners actually commented on that last week they missed the regular Brewdog news segment, so it's back with a vengeance this week. Now, this was going to be a triple header because there were a few bits of news that have come out of Brewdog this last week, but I actually decided in the end just to go with the one which is probably the largest bit of news, and this was originally mentioned when they had their AGM a couple of weeks ago, and this is a thing called the Brewdog Development Fund, where Brewdog each year they're going to give up to £100,000 of their profits back into investing in new craft breweries to get them set up and established.
Oh wow!
Now they've already made some investments in this last year, so this is obviously a piece of news that's a little bit retrospective in terms of they've already made the investments. They wanted to see how it went. It's obviously gone well, so they've announced it, and now it's going to be a permanent thing. But one of the breweries that they invested in was Brew by Numbers, which is a London brewery, which has seen a phenomenal rise in its beers over this last year. That they were given £50,000, and basically what they've done is they've also given them some of their old kit as well. So and as in return for that, what Brewdog will now be doing as well is they'll be showcasing their beers in their bars. They'll be providing ongoing advice and support, helping with ingredients and brewing materials, assisting with equipment purchases, offering access to their state-of-the-art laboratory for beer analysis, and helping them grow their sales by introducing them to their sales team. So this is it's quite a nice move by Brewdog. Actually, they're actually giving something back to their own industry. At the moment, there's been a few skeptics on Twitter that are questioning, well, what are Brewdog getting out of this? They seem to be giving an awful lot away, but what are they getting in return? And I don't know why you need to be skeptical of this. They're reinvesting their profits into making the craft beer market a better place. So why is that a bad thing?
They're going to get something out of it, which is a wider, more established craft beer scene, which is exactly what any brewery in their position would want. The bigger the scene, the better the beers that are out there, the more competition there is out there that producing good beers gets more people excited about the scene, and in the end they're going to sell more product because of it. But good on Brewdog.
Absolutely.
I don't have many kind words for Brewdog, but no, that's a really good move, and good on them for not just sitting on their asses.
Yeah, but you can check out. I mean, there is a full, and by full, I mean one of their typically long blog posts about it on their website. So just go on to brewdog.com, have a look under their blog section, and you'll find the story about the development fund. So that's the end of this week's Brewdog news. And then just the last news item for this week, what with the Tour de France starting this weekend, it would be remiss of me not to at least mention one beer that has tied into Tour de France. And this was because also they kindly sent us some of their beer to try as well, which I don't think you've had yet, Mark, but I will be delivering it to you soon. So Pedal Power Beer sent us their Golden Ale, which I tried over the weekend. It's a nice, refreshing Golden Ale, a slightly spicy finish, but obviously it's been brewed to mark the Grand Depart, which is this weekend. So if you want to know more about Pedal Power, pedalpowerbeer.co.uk or at Pedal Power Beer on Twitter.
Pretty good.
And that's the end of this week's news.
Anything else you want to talk about before we get to this week's featured beer?
No, should we just drink some beer?
All right, let's get into the beer then. We've had enough.
Yeah.
We've had enough chatter. Right. The day this episode is going out is the 4th of July, which is obviously US Independence Day. And as I said at the top of the show, we've got a special American beer, which we've been planning on drinking on the show for about as long as the show's been going. So when we first started off, this was one of the fancy beers that I got myself from Whole Foods, and I thought I was so adventurous getting this beer. But turns out I was just following the pack as usual. It's one that we both had before, as far as I'm aware. Steve, you've had it before, haven't you?
I have, but it's
but tonight we're going
kind
to
of
be
pre-beer.
Yeah.
If there's such a thing.
But tonight we're going to actually be paying attention to it as we drink it and putting into words, hopefully, what we can taste. It is
Indeed, yes.
a beer that I'm sure anyone who listens to the show is not a stranger of. It's the Anchor Steam beer from San Francisco, from the Anchor Brewing Company. So Steve, let's crack this open and we can do a little bit of chatter about it as we go, because I'm getting a bit thirsty.
Oh, straight away you're getting a real kind of, I can't put that into words. Other than that, it's just a really kind of boozy aroma to it. Pouring a very dark amber colour.
Lovely amber colour. Nice head on it.
Some light carbonation in there. Looks like a very inviting beer.
Very nice fruity sweet aroma on it. Slightly boozy.
Yeah, there's a little bit of caramel in there as well.
So this is obviously a steam beer, which is not what was referred to as a steam beer way back. I've been Wikipediaing, Stephen.
You know you shouldn't use Wikipedia for research. Surely you know that.
This is what is referred to as a California common beer now. It's not the old style steam beer. It's the California common beer, as popularized by Anchor Brewery, actually. They say this has been made in San Francisco since 1896. That's a bit of a fib, but we'll gloss over that. That's the extent of my research.
Okay. Brilliant. That's fantastic. Thanks. All from Wikipedia as well.
Sorry for disappointing you. Well,
Are you expecting me to jump in and save you now?
It's warm fermented with a lager yeast.
It is.
At the cooler end of an ale fermentation temperature. Anyway, shall we drink some beer, mate?
Let's maybe talk about some of the details.
The look of bemused disappointment on your face.
I've spent all weekend, well, not all weekend, but I spent at least an hour reading through probably 5 different books that I've got here on, these various 300 beers, 1,000 beers, top 12 beers, and this beer consistently appears in each of those books. So I read every word about this beer from every one of those books in preparation for tonight. You've just read a paragraph of a Wikipedia and essentially stolen all of my material.
Woo! Sometimes close enough is good enough, Steve.
Right, let's drink some beer.
Cheers, mate.
Cheers. Well, that's a very interesting flavour. Very interesting indeed, because you are getting the that kind of crispness that you'd expect from a lager, but it's heavy like an ale.
Yeah, there's a real woodiness there.
Yeah, I think that's a good observation. Actually, there's woodiness. There's sort of maybe a little bit of oak in there. It's coming through. The malts are playing a role. They're giving a little bit of biscuitiness as it's coming through to that then crisp finish. So there's an ever such a slight hit of citrus in there, but nothing too overpowering.
Yeah.
Leaves a lovely soft finish to it. Hardly bitter at all.
This is heavier than I remember it. This one.
It is. Yeah.
I mean, it has been a little while since I've had it, but I don't remember it being... There's like a really toffee-ish caramel to it, which I don't remember from the last time I had it, but I have had a couple of the Anchor Brewery beers, so I might be mistaking myself with one of their other ones.
No, I don't think so. I think I'm agreeing with what you're saying there. It has got that kind of toffee character to it. It's got a very, very sweetness to it that's coming through.
Yeah.
And I can only assume that's as a result of the process that it goes through to get it to get it to be the beer that it is. So yeah, I mean it's a really interesting beer. Actually, it's really complex. There's a lot going on in there.
Yeah. I can only assume that they're held in quite high esteem, I would think. Anchor Brewing.
Well,
Ish?
yes, yeah, they are. No, they are. They're considered as historically wise. They're widely considered as the first craft brewery that appeared in the US, and they're kind of the model that then all of the other craft breweries kind of stemmed from. And there's a great little story, and dependent on which book you read, the story changes slightly, but the main context of it is that a guy by the name of Fritz Maytag was apparently in one of their bars in 1965 drinking the beer, and he was talking to the bartender and telling him how much he enjoyed the beer, and the bartender said to him, well, you best enjoy it because it's the last one you're ever going to have, the brewery's closing. And then by all accounts, Fritz went off and cashed in a load of his shares, and he bought the brewery because he liked the beer so much. So it's kind of one of these kind of legendary urban myths in the craft brewing world, and he then turned the brewery into what it is today. And it's considering that you joked earlier about it saying that it was brewed back as early as 1896. The brewery did actually start back then, and it had been running for almost 70 odd years before old Fritz came along and bought it and turned it into the global concern that it is today.
Yes. But their link to that company back in the 1860s or whatever or 1890s is it's more tenuous than you might think just by reading the label. But obviously there's been that Anchor Brewing presence in San Francisco all those years, and as you say, they've been going for at least a good wee while in the last however many decades.
Yes, yeah.
And and not succumbing to any of the major global beer makers.
No, they're still, they're still what they are, and obviously they don't just produce the steam beer. As you mentioned, they do produce a range of beers now as well. That's rather gassy. Excuse me. That are in their own unique style, but obviously the steam beer is the unique one, and it's as you mentioned earlier, it's also known as California Common, and it is unique to California. And by all accounts, Anchor has the trademark on the name Steam when it comes to in a beer context as well. So only they're the only people that are allowed to produce steam beer.
Well, there's a couple other breweries that have. Well, there's at least one that's on this Wikipedia entry. Eagle Steam Beer. But yeah, a lot of them are either called common lagers or like Victory Amber. Oh no, there's a Southampton West Coast Steam Beer as well. But I can only assume that they've got some kind of agreement with Anchor to be able to use that. Because
Redwell have got a steam beer as well, but I think they've called it steam lager.
Okay.
So that's probably how they've got around it, because it's not steam beer.
Yeah. Interesting. Anyway.
So, but the style, it's I think it's more the style that dates back to the 1890s, because that was one that was common around the time of the California Gold Rush, when you had all the prospectors in California looking for gold. They were there. They wanted their lager. They wanted something cold and fizzy, but the temperatures just wouldn't allow it. So basically, they found a way around brewing the beer that they like. So they used the ale yeast, and then they fermented it at ale temperatures. So and that's as a result. It's a result of that process. You get these clouds of steam coming off the beer while it's brewing it, and hence that's where the name comes from.
Yeah. Very interesting, isn't it?
It is. There's a lot of history to this one little beer.
The lengths people will go to get beer is amazing.
Well, yes, that too. It's you know, I mean, I think if you ever get the chance, read Pete Brown's book, A Man Walks into a Pub. That is a quality book. Actually, it's a quality read. It basically documents the history of beer.
Okay.
And that has some interesting stories about the lengths that people went to get their beer.
Oh, interesting. Well, link that up on the website when we do the show notes. People can be able to find it.
Yeah, will do. But yeah, I mean, I find, you know, and if anybody wants the full history of this, there is a very, very good write-up on it in the Roger Protz's 300 Beers to Try Before You Die book.
Yep.
It's featured in there, but as I say, it's pretty much featured. If you get hold of any of these books that's, you know, X number of beers to try before X date, you will find that Anchor Steam Beer features in all of them.
And as it should, it's a very fine beer. I'm really enjoying this.
It is. It's an incredible beer.
It's not as easygoing as I thought it would be, mainly because it's not that light, lagery style I was expecting from memory, but it's got proper nice character to it.
It's actually it's a real sipper as well. It's a beer that you want to take your time over, and it already in the short time that we've been drinking it tonight, it's begun to warm a little bit, and the flavour profile is changing again in there. So it's and I do keep calling it a little beer, but it is in this little stubby bottle, which is really it's 355 mils, but it's punching above its weight. It really is. It's only 4.8%, but it's a nice, easy beer, and it's certainly one that you shouldn't turn your nose up to as being a kind of standard beer along the journey.
What I like about this bottle is it's not that much smaller than another, you know, a typical American bottle. They're normally 375, aren't they?
They are, yeah.
This is only 355. But the fact that it is stubby, you kind of think, oh, that's only small. I could do two of those. Which is a little bit dangerous.
Yeah, just a little bit, because I think that 4.8% could start sneaking up on you. Still getting big hits of toffee and caramel towards the end of it here.
Yeah.
It's coming through. It's really nice, really enjoyable beer, actually.
Real resinous end to it. Which is nice. Yeah, for a 4. It doesn't taste like a 4.8%. It tastes like
No.
it's kind of hitting around the 6 or 7s, I think.
Yeah, I mean, if you go back to when we did some of those big American beers back last season, it's got that same sort of aroma and flavour to it. That, as you say, that toffee kind of resinousy sort of feel to it. But it's not got that smack you in the face hop hit, which on this occasion isn't a bad thing. Because it's so well balanced, it just allows the flavours to come through. And yeah, it's a really good beer.
Indeedy. Okay, so as we're winding down with this beauty of a little beer, we've got a bit of news. We've got a little announcement to make, Stephen.
We have, yes.
We've got a little adventure, or not little adventure. We're not going anywhere.
We're making a movie.
Oh, I wish. I keep thinking like the beer o'clock version of Mrs. Brown's Boys. You can wear the wig and the frock.
No, I was thinking more the beer o'clock version of Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure.
Oh, that would be amazing.
Like Mark and Steve's Excellent Adventure.
No, we're not making a movie, alas. Although I am still trying to work on that TV show. So if you're from Dave +1, then drop me a line.
We're back down at Dave. You'd moved your aspirations up from ITV2 to Channel 5, and now you've gone back down to Dave.
Anyone? I want TV show. Yes.
Sorry, I keep butting in.
An exciting little event that we've got coming up in a little wee while. Give us some details, Mr. B.
Okay, yeah, it's something that you and I have been discussing for a while, but I don't think we've ever quite got around to doing. But I think that we feel that the time's right to give it a go now. We're going to try something live, which is something that we've not done before. Obviously, Mark and I, when we record, it's live to us. But when you've got our smooth tones coming into your ears, it's gone through Mark's wonderful editing process. It's been honed and it's had music put to it. But we're actually going to go live, and we're going to try something with a number of other people as well. So on Saturday, the 6th of September, we will be running what we are calling the Lock-In. Now, this will be broadcast live on YouTube from 9 p.m. on Saturday the 6th of September. It's being supported by our friends at Thornbridge, who are providing us with the beers to drink as part of a collaborative review that we're going to do with 8 other people on a live broadcast on YouTube. Now, we've decided that the collaborative review will be of Thornbridge's Kipling beer, which is one that we've obviously not reviewed before. We've both drunk it before, but it's also a style that we've not reviewed before because it advertises itself as a South Pacific Pale Ale, I think it is. So Pale Ale. So it'll be a first for us, but also kind of a double first because we will be reviewing with 8 other people, and we're all going to be live on YouTube. So it's going to go one of 2 ways. It's either going to be fantastic or it's going to be an absolute car crash of 10 people sat live on YouTube slowly getting steadily pissed on a Saturday night.
And either way, you don't want to miss it.
Yeah, either way, it's going to be unmissable viewing. But so we're going to start off with kind of a selected group of reviewers that are going to come on and have maybe a first beer and then do the review with us. But then as the evening wears on, we're expecting those initial 10 or so to drop out. And if other people want to come on, they'll be able to tweet us and we'll invite you into it. And we'll be doing some live tweeting and stuff during the show. But there's going to be a full blog post up on the website about it in a couple of weeks. If you want to get involved and you're not one of the 10, and you would know if you were one of the 10 because you've already been invited, but if you still want to get involved, just drop us a tweet and we'll add you to sort of the waiting list and we'll try and get you involved in the evening.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure that while we're doing it, people are going to be able to either chat on the YouTube page or there might be a live chat or something, but you can at least feedback to us on Twitter while it's going on. We'll have a hashtag going on. Steve will be obsessively refreshing Twitter as we go along. And as people drop out, if we have room and you fancy getting your face on YouTube and drinking beer along with us and getting pissed with us, then we'll hopefully be able to invite you into the hangout. It should be quite cool.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I think it's, like I said, I think it's something we've spoken about a couple of times, but I think now's the right time to do it. And so Saturday the 6th of September, at least get it in your diary, and get ready for what's probably going to be the funniest stroke, most uncomfortable stroke, most embarrassing 2 or 3 hours of your life.
And can I just say, I've just checked in this beer for tonight, and Stephen, I've got a badge.
Oh, you've got a badge. What did you get?
World Pint 2014.
No, shush. See, now I'm going for a strategic check-in on this one.
Oh yeah.
I'm not going to check it in tonight while we're recording. I'm actually going to check this in on Friday when it's Independence Day, because there's bound to be an Independence Day badge.
God, get you. But I just got a badge for World Cup.
It's all about badge, mate. It's all about badges.
All about badge.
All about badges.
Right, okay. Final comments on this beer, the Anchor Steam beer from Anchor Brewing, California, San Francisco, for the 4th of July. Nice little beer.
A really lovely little beer. It gives you all the flavours and the heaviness that you would expect from an ale, while at the same time delivering the crispness that you come to enjoy from a lager.
It is a really nice combination, isn't it? That's a lovely style of beer. Yeah, really, really good. Don't turn your nose up at this one. If you see it, buy it and enjoy it, because it's a really enjoyable beer. Indeedy. Now, what do we have before we go, Stephen? What are we doing next week?
What are we doing next week? Next week we are doing a double review, and we've got a brewer joining us as well to do the double review with us. So in the first part of season 4, we featured Hogsback Brewery. We did their tea beer, traditional English ale. Mm-hmm. And Hogsback was so thrilled with the review that we did of that beer that they actually got in touch. Of course they were. So David from Hogsback actually got in touch and said, would you be keen to do any more of our beers? I said, yes, what have you got? So he then sent us a lager which they had been developing called Hogstar. And it's gone through 2 or 3 versions of this lager to finally get to where it's at now. So initially we were just going to do that, and then a couple of weeks ago they put out a chocolate lager as well. So I suggested to David that maybe we do both beers on the show while he comes on, because I, for one,
why not?
have never. Why not? Why not? I have never heard of chocolate lager before,
no.
And I'm intrigued as to whether, again, it's either going to be a thing of wonder, or it's going to be something that the minute it passes your lips, you're absolutely going to regret.
And what better to have the brewer on the show with you when you taste something that you think tastes terrible?
To be fair, he's actually already said that it's kind of a Marmite beer. You're either going to love it or hate it. There's no two ways about it. So yeah, that's next week's show. Double review of Hogsback, along with David Patterson from Hogsback Brewery.
Excellent.
Who will be joining us on the show.
I'm looking forward to that.
Yes.
And do we have anything else to talk about before we go?
Just the Instagram of the week.
Instagram of the week.
More and more people are getting involved in this now, and it's brilliant. And this week has been very, very exciting, because I'd already chosen tonight's winner, and then there were 2 last-minute entries that absolutely blew me away. And there's some real tactical Instagramming going on at the moment. So
there is no prize, by the way.
No, and somebody coined a fantastic hashtag for us today as well. It's the prizeless prize,
Yay.
which is brilliant. Just first mention I just want to give is to Ian G at Fantastic Film. Who, Ian, you were going to be Instagram of the week for your fantastic picture of a 4 Pure Session IPA, but you were picked by two guys who actually came in at the last minute and just some stunning work. So I'm not going to give a joint Instagram of the week. So in a very close second place, someone who's won Instagram of the week before, Sean Smith, Plim Sean 101 on Instagram, who about an hour before we recorded tonight sent in an Instagram of a bottle of Anchor Steam beer, which I thought was very well played, which actually also goes to prove two things. One, that he actually listens to the show, and two, that he realises that we record on a Monday night. So the timing was perfect. So I was all set to give him Instagram of the week, and then out of nowhere, 10 minutes before we were due to record, last week's winner at Sparky Right, Mike Gibbs, came in with an absolutely stunning picture of a bottle of Anchor Steam beer that had been poured and everything, and he had done some stuff to this picture, and it's a glorious picture. So Mike, you are our prizeless prize winner again, 2 weeks in a row at Sparky Right on Instagram and Twitter. Same handle on both, but for his picture of Anchor Steam beer, which I would have already retweeted by the time you're listening to this, or regrammed. So you will be able to go onto our Instagram account and have a look at this week's Instagram of the week from Mike Gibbs.
Very good, very good, very good.
Am I getting too excited about the whole Instagram thing?
No, I think it's incredibly exciting. Where can people can find us on Instagram at Beer O'Clock Show, right?
Yes, they can, and use the hashtag Cheers Guys. And Beer O'Clock, because that's how we find what you're posting on Instagram. But it's all about the hashtag.
Yes.
So we would very much appreciate this week. I would love to see seeing as this show's going out on Independence Day, I'd love to see some USA themed Instagrams this week to come up for the Instagram of the week next week.
Yeah, and a big shout out to all our friends and listeners across the pond.
Yes. Hope you're having a fantastic day.
Yeah.
Happy Independence Day? Is it that sort of thing? Do you wish somebody a happy Independence Day?
I've got no idea. Just please don't shoot your eyes out with fireworks. That's all I can say. And I hope you all have a great weekend. Barbecues.
And enjoy some English craft beer for a change.
Yeah, why not? Oh, dearie me. You can find us on Twitter at Beer O'Clock Show, Instagram at Beer O'Clock Show, and the website is beeroclockshow.co.uk. You can also find both of us on Untapped. I've been getting a lot of friend requests on Untapped. I accept all of them, and I check what everyone is drinking. You can find me on Untapped at Roku, ROKKU, and you can find Steve at Beer O'Clock Show Steve. So send us a friend request. You will be accepted. We accept all friends on Untapped. And we love to see what you're drinking, and hopefully we can have a little bit of chat on Untapped about what we're drinking. And as always, if you subscribe to the show on iTunes or on Stitcher, please leave us a review and a rating or a little thumbs up. It really does help. We appreciate your support. And of course, as always, you can listen to the show via the Stitcher app that's on the website. Thank you very much, Stephen.
Thank you very much, Mark.
Until next week.
Highlight of my week, as always. Before we do that, I've got one more thing that I need to say. Championing a cause for one of our followers. If anybody wants to send us your craft beer bottle tops, that would be fantastic, because one of our followers in Ireland, at Sun Zero Vegan, so that's at SON0VAGUN. He's making a craft beer table. He's got the middle has been kind of slightly recessed, and he's putting all bottle tops in the middle, and I assume he's going to lay glass over the top of that. He's struggling to get enough bottle tops to fill his beer table.
A bit strange for an Irishman.
Yeah, but so he's got in touch with us to say, can we send bottle tops? So if anybody has got some bottle tops, or anybody wants to collect some bottle tops, get in touch with us on Twitter, DM us, and say, yeah, you're willing to get involved, and I'll send you the address that you need to send them to. Feeling a little bit like a Blue Peter appeal right now. From the 80s. It's probably a reference that's lost on Mark, but there'll be many people out there that remember when Blue Peter wanted you to send them random pieces of shit so that they could get their totalizer up to the top or whatever it was. Send us your bottle tops. We're collecting them until the end of August.
There's no badges to be had, unfortunately. You don't get a little Blue Peter badge for it. Just the knowledge that you've helped an Irishman fill a table with bottle caps.
Yes, and we will. I just as a way of saying thank you. Once we've got all the bottle tops in, we'll run a little segment on the show where we kind of thank everybody in person for sending them the bottle tops. So send us your bottle tops. That's my effort, a bit of an Irish accent there.
And just one note that I was just thinking of. If anyone who's listening to this wants to get involved with Twitter but doesn't know exactly how, maybe you're not really up with the social networks, or you're just a Facebooker, forget Facebook. It's a piece of shit. Get on Twitter, sign yourself up for an account, go to twitter.com/beeroclockshow after you're logged in and click follow, then message us and say, hey guys, new to Twitter, who do I follow for beer shit? And Steve will be able to recommend a load of people to follow on Twitter regarding beer, and you can just get involved and have lovely chats with people about the drink that we all love. Right, that's it.
That's just on that note. Just on that note.
Never-ending show.
It is the never-ending show tonight. Yeah, I think there is a way, because you can subscribe to other people's lists, can't you?
Yes.
So we do have a list of about 40 odd people that are kind of core people that I like to keep in touch with, and we like to keep in touch with people that kind of blog or do different types of reviews. So you can always subscribe to our list and have a look at the people that we follow that way.
Yeah, it's a great little scene. And, you see what people are drinking. You can talk about what they're drinking. Say, oh, I've heard about that beer. What's it like? Oh, it's really nice. And stuff like that. That's basically how Twitter works, isn't it? Something like that.
It is.
So don't be shy.
Shall we finish there
Let's
tonight?
finish.
Shall we just
the end.
Shall we throw something else in now?
That's it. Let's go before we think of something
nothing else. You don't want to think? No.
No.
All right, then.
Thanks
Okay.
very much, everyone,
Thanks,
for listening. Mate. As always, Stephen, it's been a pleasure, and I'll talk to you next week.
See you next week.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.